Open up the show talking about Monday Night Football. The Bills get it done against the Jets on the road. Felt like there were a lot of Bills fans there, though. And Aaron Rodgers, not thrilled with the performance. A couple of missed field goals, a lot of penalties, 22 to be exact. I believe that ties the most in the NFL this season. 22 penalties called yesterday. And this was the first game after the firing of Robert Saleh. And so one of the names that's been thrown out there is, hey, would Belichick consider the New York Jets job? And so Belichick was on the Manning cast with Peyton and Eli Manning last night and kind of aired his thoughts on the coaching change and what it's like there in New York.
That's kind of what it's been there at the Jets. You know, barely won over 30% in the last 10 years. So, you know, the owner being the owner, just ready, fire, aim.
Yeah, so he will not be interviewing for that job. I would venture to guess after the season. So
there's no love lost there, huh? Like, that's one where, you know, Bill Belichick, I get it, you're division rivals for so long. And even the whole Eric Mangini leaving and that kind of coup, if you will. But, man, that's just, there's still some hatred there.
Whew. Ready, fire, aim.
Ready, fire, aim. 30%, like winning percent, you know.
They've been bad, man.
You got to have an opportunity. When you go to an organization that's bad for a long time, it's not going to be an easy fix in terms of becoming a functional, successful team and organization. And the question becomes, who is going to have enough time to do it? And if within that time, what has to happen? And can those things legitimately happen for the shift to take place, the change to take place, for that success to be apparent or to be there? It's just, if you're a coach, that's a difficult, that's a difficult proposition. Like, you're Bill Belichick. Why would you place your reputation at stake to try to go fix that? You just don't know how that's going to turn out.
So I was thinking too.
Yeah.
The Patriots haunted many people, mostly within their division, for over 2 decades. Is that fair to say with Tom Brady, Bill Belichick?
Yes.
Here's the problem for all those people who are not fans of the Patriots. You're still going to be haunted by them. Because now with Tom Brady on calling games, now with Bill Belichick, who's on TV as well, and even if he goes back to coach for a year or two, I mean, he's up there in age, so maybe he's just doing this so he keeps his name out there to go get another head coaching job. But let's assume that he's going to get back into TV. Like, you're going to have to deal with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and Rob Gronkowski and Julian Edelman and Jason McCourty. Like, all these New England guys who are now transitioning into TV.
They're both there.
Both McCourty.
Both Devin and Jason. But you can't look anywhere and not see them. Rob Ninkovich is out. Like
Teddy Bruschi. Like, you start looking at it and going,
Woody.
Wait a second, Woody.
Dang.
Like they're going to be haunting you for the rest of your life. Like, the rest of your life where you can watch a game of football, you're going to be impacted some way or another, or reminded of the dominance that the Patriots had over those 2+ decades. So just enjoy that.
So if I were to throw some teams out there, and again, I want to be clear on this, I'm not calling for anybody's job. I'm just saying, based on speculation, these are jobs that could be available at the end of the year. Like, so if we're looking at the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Giants, the Jaguars, and the Jets. The Jets is the worst of those jobs, and I don't even think it's close. And Belichick's going to maybe have his pick of the litter when it comes to which one of these gigs he wants. Why the F would anybody think he would take that Jets job? Even if there was no bad blood, even if that's not a good situation. Like, it's not like we have no idea what this team's going to look like next year, who's going to be back. Like, if I were to bet right now, I don't think Rodgers is coming back next year. I think this is it for him. Like, if I were to have to put money on it, which means he probably comes back and signs like a 4-year deal because I bet on it. But If I had to say right now, Rodgers is done after this year. So what's the appeal there?
I think there's still enough football left where I don't know that that's the final conclusion for what Aaron Rodgers is going to plan to do. Things could turn around. They looked motivated. It's just unfortunate that they went up against a team that was good enough to match that motivation and hold on to win the game, but they could have won that game. Their season could look very different than what it looks like right now. So I don't think it's
man.
I mean, that's if you paid that man, if you told that man I'll pay you $2 million to hit the uprights the way you did, he couldn't do it. Bet you he couldn't do it. I bet you he couldn't do it. And whether he could or not, I don't know. But anyway, the point I'm making is they could very well be in a very different situation right now than what they're in. Now, that doesn't mean that the organization isn't in disarray the way that it's being discussed and being talked about. And obviously, Bill Belichick making light of the fact that they're not having success. But I do think there's enough football left where Aaron Rodgers could actually see a future and continuing on with whatever it is his quest is, whether it's to get another MVP, whether it's to win a Super Bowl, whether it's to play for one, whatever it is that has him motivated to still play. If that's still present coming out of this season, when this season concludes, why wouldn't he come back? Why wouldn't you continue to play?
Let me ask you guys this. What's his biggest motivating factor? Is it if the season doesn't turn around and it ends poorly, not wanting to finish football on that note? Is it potentially who they'd bring in as the head coach? Is it money? Is it more about, I guess maybe this falls in line with the first part, like his legacy and how he wants to be remembered or viewed in his last season, or maybe feeling responsible for coming to the New York Jets with so much hype, so much anticipation. I mean, this is reminiscent, I would say, of Peyton Manning going to the Denver Broncos. That's probably Tom Brady going to the Bucks, right? Like that sort of hype, and not coming anywhere close to delivering, which I guess still falls in line with the first one. But like,
this is a further distance to go. Right. With Aaron Rodgers. So if he were to be able to have the success of Peyton or what Tom did, he would, I mean, you now have to put him in that conversation, right? Doesn't that legitimize put him in that conversation if he comes from as far away as the New York Jets have been from success? You got to put him in that conversation.
When Peyton Manning and Tom Brady were still in the league, like, if you were to say three best quarterbacks in the NFL, it was probably Rodgers, Brady, and Manning.
Absolutely.
And both of those guys, who he's been compared to his entire career, went and won Super Bowls elsewhere in an older age.
They were better
after
teams.
They left.
Those were better teams.
So it's got to be a motivating factor.
Well, I don't know necessarily that they were better. Now that I'm thinking about it, they were more. They had more success. Like Denver was right there.
Hell yeah.
Denver was pretty good. Tampa Bay, they just Jameis was just turning the ball over, but they were pretty good, right? They kind of fell off a little bit. They weren't as good that last.
By the way, that still blows my mind. 30 picks.
The Jets just haven't been winning. It seems like they're just really far away. And being in the market that they're in, if Aaron Rodgers came to the New York Jets, they haven't won a championship, since Namath? If Aaron Rodgers comes to New York and delivers a Super Bowl to the New York Jets, he's a GOAT. He's already a GOAT, but it's a different GOAT conversation. 100%. Not 100%. What's there to debate? You go to the New York Jets and win a Super Bowl, and you're the catalyst and the reason for it? You now have to be in the conversation with the greatest of all time on a different level. Like maybe I don't have as many Super Bowls as you have, but I have a ton of MVPs that I can match with you, and I did something that neither one of y'all would have been able to do, which was go to the New York Jets and win the Super Bowl. Right. I'm gonna drop the mic right there.
Let me also throw this, potential at you. Again, not calling for any jobs or anything, but on the subject of Tom Brady and Belichick and like all of this stuff that's happening. So,
Mike Vrabel.
No, Tom Brady is expected to be approved as, what is it, 10% stake in Raiders ownership. Like the expectation is that that's going to pass and he's going to get approval by the other owners in the league. And
I want to know what amount. I want to know what they valued that franchise at. That's what fascinates me.
And it also said that he's going to have input in personnel decisions there with the Raiders. And so, Belichick's out there. And I just wonder if maybe, Tom Brady looks at this and says, hey, man, could be our one shot to land the greatest coach of all time. It feels like their relationship is on better terms.
They mended it at the roast.
I mean, they've done a bunch of interviews together.
On the same page.
I wonder if, hey, I got to the point to where I couldn't play for you anymore. We couldn't coexist in that realm. But now
he's already
separated.
winning championships with the basketball team, right? Isn't that his basketball team too?
Yeah, the Aces. Yeah.
I mean,
he's
a Midas touch type of dude, man. I wouldn't discount anything that he's trying to do, and if that would indeed be what he wants to do, I mean, why not trust in Tom Brady? Why not?
I think the tough thing is you don't have a quarterback. And so Bill might be looking Tom dead in the eyes being like, dude, I don't have time to try to rebuild this thing. You're not sitting there. Maybe I'm looking at the draft and I don't feel like there's that guy in the draft either. So that might be one of the reasons why it's not as desirable of an opportunity. He might look at some of the other potential jobs out there that come open and say, they've got a quarterback, they've got the pieces. It only takes, a little bit of this or a little bit of that. That's the hard part, I think, if you're Belichick, is like, do you want to take on something that you would feel like would need at least a year or two of rebuilding in order to build back? Do you want to wait that long?
I mean, I feel like if I'm Bill Belichick in the, current state of where he's at, if he did feel as though he wanted to recreate what he did or try, there could be a lot of legitimacy in what is he still trying to coach for? If he were to come back and coach, what is he trying to coach for?
All-time wins record. Apparently,
is there a team out there where he could get to that quicker?
Philly.
That's a good pool. That's a good pool. Yeah. That's a good pool.
I mean, dare I say Dallas? Not that he would.
That's a good pool.
But I feel like there's other rosters that you feel like, okay, can they win 10 games? Because if he can do that, how many games is he away from Don Shula's record? Is it like 20 or 30?
Efforting.
I could be way off, by the way. It might be more than that. But if he's like a couple of 10-win seasons away, and that's ultimately what it's about, I'd think there'd be better situations than Las Vegas. I mean, you got to compete with Mahomes, Kansas City, Andy Reid twice a year. I mean, Harbaugh's done a good job turning around the Chargers to make them more competitive, obviously. I mean, I think Denver's a young team. Peyton's done a good job with them. I mean, that's 6 of your games. I think you're at the bottom right now, and you're going, how are we climbing our way out?
It's a good point. But what if he were to approach it like what we're thinking, or what I said about Aaron Rodgers? Like, if I can come in and I can put together a team, find a quarterback that can win in the AFC West, I mean, is it up? I mean, it should be up for debate anyway.
He's
but
26 away.
26. If that's his sole purpose for coming back, then yeah, you got to be selective. But if he were coming back because he really wants to continue to coach and continue to win and try to win Super Bowls, then I think you go where you have the most support. I think you go where you have, because if we recall, when he went to Atlanta, if the reports are true, he wasn't going to get that support and that backing from the people in the front office. And if you're going into a situation where you may get undermined in what it is that you're going to attempt to do, then that's probably going to be a counterproductive situation for you to find yourself in. So if you're going to a place and Tom Brady is the one that's calling you up and saying, let's Bill, let's get together and let's do this, you got to believe that's something that you would consider. Like, let's figure it out. Maybe you can go get a free agent that would be worth it. Maybe you can plug holes where it'd be worth it in the initial until you find one to draft or whatever. Maybe he doesn't want to draft one and try to recreate what he did. Is there going to be somebody tradable or free agent wise that's available next year? Is there anybody? Damn.
He just signed his contract, didn't he? Yeah. What am I thinking of? Who else would be? I don't know.
They could go get Deshaun and say, look, we can fix Deshaun.
Now that's a fix.
We could fix him.
You might even be able to get Cleveland to pay for all of it.
Dang. You could go get Russ. His calf might be in better shape, better condition. Maybe you trade for Trevor Lawrence. Try to salvage his career.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, what I'm putting out there is it can't be considered to be outrageous to try to go for what Bill would want if you have somebody in the front office that knows and believes in what he's capable of doing and is going to support it.
Is Belichick a better coach than Nick Sirianni?
Yes.
Go to Philly. Because Sirianni's been to the playoffs every year.
Yeah, but he's not. I mean, that would be if he's willing to give up control to Howie Roseman. Howie is not giving up control to him.
And Philly's not going to force him to. His resume is too strong. So, again, it comes back to the original point. If I can go to an organization where I know the people who are making the decisions are going to support me with the resources and the belief that I need to do this the way that I want to do it, why would you not consider that? If Tom Brady indeed gets that stake approved and he says, Bill, I want you, and listen, I love AP. I would love for AP to none other than to have a long run and tenure as a head coach for this team. But just given all the elements that are involved and in play, if Tom Brady takes over and Tom Brady says that's the direction he wants to go in, if I'm Bill Belichick, why do I not do that? That would be the biggest question that you have to answer, because there's not going to be another organization that he goes to where he's going to have the buy-in, the trust, and the respect from somebody who's making decisions like he would from Tom Brady.